When we're pursuing a God-sized dream, we need to not only be clinging to God, we need to be clinging to truth about God. There is so much that God makes known about himself through his word, an endless treasure of truth to stand on. When our faith takes a hit, when plans are overturned, when the enemy shoots fiery darts of fear and doubt, when we're on the brink of despair, we need to stand on what we know about God, which means we need to know our God. Psalm 56:9 says, "This I know, that God is for me." David wrote this psalm when he had been seized by the Philistines. With his life in danger, he directed his thoughts to God. He called to mind what he knew about God. God is for me. You have to know that about God. When things are falling apart and it feels like everything is working against you, you have to encourage yourself with truth. No matter how it looks, God is for me, which means God is with me and helping me. I can't go by what I see. He is working. Those 3 words, "this I know," are powerful. We have to intentionally call to mind what we know about God. It will strengthen us time and again. It helps us cling to God. Whenever I'm challenged in a situation, I ask myself, okay, what do I know to be true? There are 3 truths I turn to all the time. The first is, this I know, God is sovereign. I often call to mind King Nebuchadnezzar, who thought he was supremely sovereign as he gazed at the city of Babylon from his rooftop palace. He said, Daniel 4:30, "Is this not Babylon the Great, which I myself have built as a royal residence by the might of my power and for the glory of my majesty?" Nebuchadnezzar had every reason to think that he was the supreme ruler. Babylon was the world's greatest power. Nebuchadnezzar had even taken captive God's chosen people and had desecrated the temple in Jerusalem. But what Nebuchadnezzar didn't understand was that this was all part of God's plan. The king was a mere instrument in God's hands. When God saw that Nebuchadnezzar was clearly confused about who was in control, he removed Nebuchadnezzar's earthly sovereignty and told him he would become as a beast of the field until the king recognized that the Most High is ruler over the realm of mankind and that he bestows it upon whomever he wishes. It indeed happened, and the time came when Nebuchadnezzar did recognize who was indeed sovereign, and he praised God. Daniel 4, "But at the end of that period, I, Nebuchadnezzar, raised my eyes toward heaven, and my reason returned to me, and I blessed the Most High, and praised and honored him who lives forever. For his dominion is an everlasting dominion, and his kingdom endures from generation to generation. All the inhabitants of the earth are accounted as nothing, but he does according to his will in the host of heaven and among the inhabitants of earth. And no one can ward off his hand or say to him, 'What have you done?'" We need to think of passages like this when everything is coming against what God has called us to pursue. We need to say, "This I know, God is sovereign. He does according to his will in the host of heaven and among the inhabitants of the earth, and no one can ward off his hand. No one can thwart the purposes of God. He is in control. Though we may not see or understand what he's doing, he is ruling with all power. He knows the end from the beginning. He's not at all surprised by what has unfolded. He has a plan as to how he will work it together for our good and his glory. In the next video, I'll share the other 2 truths I always stand on in pursuit of a God-sized dream. Let me know in the comments, do you know that God is sovereign? Do you stand on that truth? Thank you so much for subscribing and sharing. I will see you in the next video. Keep clinging.